Okay, welcome back. It's still Family and Values. I want to welcome you back. If you're just tuning in, it's so good for you to join us this morning because this holiday, you get purpose. So this morning our topic is defensiveness in relationship. Defensiveness in relationship. We try to defend ourselves, prove a point, we elongate it. You'll be dragging it, your husband will be pushing it this way, you'll be drawing it the other way. Everybody wants to make a point, and we continue like that. Before you know, it becomes, very serious trouble in the house. And like you're not bowing your head, your husband is looking at you like this, and usually you're like, my husband is too stubborn, he always wants to have his way. This morning we'll be talking about this with our darling pastor Ayo Daniels, but we call him Ayo Daniels. So just call me Ayo Daniels, or some people call him PAD, so it still goes well. He is a writer, he is a marriage counselor, he is a life coach, he's a teacher of the word, and this man we have here today has many talents deposited in him. So we're so privileged to have him this morning. It's so good to have you, sir. Good morning once again.
Wonderful books. You didn't have that,
not just one. That's just a very recent one. You're Beyond Romance.
I still read it over and over and
Beyond Romance. It's still very much on the shelf, and many others that he has, but that's a very, very, very hot cake now. So this morning we're looking at defensiveness in relationship. Hey, sir, what do you mean by defensiveness? Because many people will give you different, meaning to defensiveness. What's the meaning of defensiveness in relationship or in marriage? Whether to those who are yet to be married, can we consider it as a red flag? And those who are married, what does it mean?
Well, thank you for having me. First, I'd like to say Happy Mother's Day to
these two
wonderful women in the studio with me,
Thank you,
Gloria Day and Princess, and to everyone who is out there this morning, who represent the womanhood, whether you are a young girl, you are a lady, you are a woman. Thank you for all that you do. We say Happy Mother's Day to you. So defensiveness in relationship is that natural response, which a lot of us will put up when issue rises in our relationship. It's a very wonderful topic, which I believe every one of us should be conscious of. Maybe first I will say this is marriage is like a garden. I think one of few times I've been here. I've emphasized that everyone, at least listening to that clip, everyone should take responsibility to keep that garden. Otherwise, weeds have the tendency to grow and then take over the garden, and it will result in lower productivity. So that's what defensiveness does. It affects the way we handle conflict. It affects the way we respond to issues that are not, just like you said, that are not supposed to be taken out of ban. We lose that art of listening to each other. So sometimes if we are not careful about the subject of defensiveness, it may be the very thing that blocks our intimacy, that blocks our conversations in marital relationship or any form of relationship
at all.
Okay, I love the fact that you said it blocks. Now, sometimes you want to make the other partner understand where you're coming from. Sometimes you're not wrong and they are pushing this thing to you. And honestly, if I'm in that space where I know that I'm right, I become very defensive in my conversation with you. I would not want you to push it to me and I just take responsibility or accept that, okay, it is fine. I would want to defend myself. And in that process, there's arguments, there's back and front. Now, why do people become so defensive when it comes to conversations? I just gave you my own lead too. You can't come out and tell me, no, this is it. By the time we talk 2-3 times, at the end of the day, I'm still defensive of this is the reason why I carried out this action.
So in every relationship, everyone's instinct is to defend what they perceive as criticism, what they perceive as blame, what they perceive as the other side of the issue. Everybody likes to explain themselves. And in fact, that's the reason why we have the law court. When two people don't agree, we end up at the law court for interpretation. So usually it's like a natural response. You make a point, I want to respond. But what usually happens for most people is that they leave, in fact, that's the reason, they leave the issues and attack the person. So the other person just want to respond in defense of what they perceive as their own right or their own side of the story. So usually that's what happens. It's a natural response, even from a child to their parents, from people in the boardroom. If an accusation or criticism is laid, people naturally want to respond. Nobody wants to say, oh, in our conversation we say silence is sometimes, it means consent. So we need to
come
respond.
out,
But the issues that we are spending this money, just like we watch in that small clip, is that if we don't really, I think communication is also the key here. If we don't learn to listen to the other person, listening responsively, so the person says their own part of the story and then we respond. If there are two people responding at the same time, that's defensiveness, that's noise, and they will never get to resolve the issues at hand.
You said communication. That was what I was about to talk about. That how can defensiveness affect communication between couples?
Intimacy too.
And is it possible to be assertive without being defensive?
Okay, so there is it is possible. There is in communication, you have the assertive aspect of it, where and most of our kids, they also demonstrate it this day. When you talk to a child, the child says, that's not true. It's a form of assertiveness. The child is, in most cultures they say the child is rude, but the truth is that the child wants to, there's something the child wants to express. So assertive communication is not negative. I allow you to state your own facts and figure, and then you can even, if I'm talking to an elderly person, I can say, please, can I talk? So it means I'm trying to speak my mind, but I'm still very cautious, at least very respectful in that form of communication. But when we don't understand those little things, we tend to see the other person, you want to override my notion, let me speak my mind. And in most cases, like I said, we leave the issues at hand to attack people's personality.
Okay. Even with couples, right?
Oh, that seems to be the where we get to test
because sometimes everyone's like, women, keep quiet. I'm still talking. We have that.
Yeah, and then what you see as a response of the woman, let me speak my own. Let me speak
my own side of the story now.
So it's something. I think it just boils down to that point of communication. We must learn. Is an art. A lot of people have reduced it to talking, but communication in the real sense is actually listening. So it's the principle that we have with our phones. Imagine me placing a call to you. I said, "Oh, Lori or Princess, good morning." And while you are trying to say good morning, both of us are talking at the same time. It becomes a noise. The principle of radio communication in those days is that when someone speaks, the other person say, understand, over, and so the person on the other side will process it and then respond. So it's still the same thing, but when that is not observed, that's when people rise up to defend themselves. People live in self-denial. And sometimes it's as a result of the way we were brought up. Some people are brought up to be aggressive. So there is aggressive communication. There is also assertive. Assertive means I listen to you, I understand your point of view, and I respond. And I'm still doing it within the frame of courtesy and respect. But aggressive means I don't even want you to talk at all. This is my point. I am standing on my point. My opinion stands about this matter. And then the irony of it is that most people say, and I cannot change my mind.
I cannot change my mind. My decision is final.
Yeah.
And I stand on what I said.
We won't get.
This is who
We cannot.
We will never get the best out of them. Even with our children, let's not even talk about spouse. You can never get the best. It means, so maybe it's just someone for the sake of peace just decided to keep quiet. But that doesn't mean that
you are right.
Are resolved.
Yeah. So sometimes, okay, that's why they said you need to agree to disagree. You know, so that peace, we'll just carry that. It is not every point and every argument that you win. That is life. I've come to that then, just to make peace. On that note, let's go for our short break by taking a word of marble. We'll be right back. Please take something meaningful out of this word of marble. It's very important. So welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you're joining us, it's still good to join us, yes, because we continue with this discussion, the defensiveness in relationship. Defensiveness in relationship. How well do you defend your discussion? Joy, over to you.
Now, let's talk about trust.
Okay.
Very important. And what are those common signs of one being defensive, that you look at this person from beginning, maybe courtship, just like Mondays, and every time you want to put up an argument, she's always on it. Before you even say Jack, she has defended her movements. Oh, you didn't come here. Must I call you? Why are you monitoring me? What is the role of trust when it comes to defensiveness? Because sometimes you just want to understand the other person's movement, the other person's whereabouts, out of your own way of being caring. And then you've not heard from this person the whole day, and you're putting the call, the person is not picking, and then suddenly you say, oh, I've been calling, hey, why are you monitoring me? Why have you, don't I have freedom of women? Is it because I'm in a relationship? And your mind is not going there. You just want to play the cool, wanting to just know whereabouts. What is the rule of trust? Oh, don't you trust me again? Why are you now monitoring me? How does that come to play?
Well, that word trust, I think, captures it all. It's an open disposition of confidence. And it's a very simple thing in communication. And I know that you know this, even as trained communication experts. Is either yes or no. So it's that open disposition that I have towards, if it's my partner in business, spouse, or anyone I have something to do with. Trust is everything, really. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything after that is just open denial of the facts and figure of the subject matter. So if I am here and you are asking me why am I here, I have reason. Everyone in my household knows that this is where I am this morning. So it's if someone calls my home and said they saw me somewhere else, that touches borders on trust now. So the next time I'm going out, you probably from my household, they will tell me, are you sure that you're actually going to Galactic TV? Why? If I go somewhere else, trust demand that when I get back home, as you said, on my way, I stop by at, I mean, that's trust is everything when it comes to these things. Otherwise, we just be throwing blame at each other.
But what are those signs that you can look out for, especially for people that are just coming up, to know that this person is being over defensive? When it becomes too much, every little thing, what are those signs we can actually live within partners?
So, we are saying, so I just mentioned one or two things. Why do people always want to defend and stand in defense, whether they understand the subject matter or not? Some people have been raised up in an environment or in a family setting where they were not allowed to speak all through their growing up years. So they don't question authority. They were trained not to question authority. They were taken to receive instruction. So it's like a measure of freedom. So for them, they want to exercise it. So because they are used to being shut down, they want to talk at every instant. I don't know if you've been at meetings and you are discussing something and just somebody just want to talk and just take everybody out of that thing. Some people see that defensiveness as an act of recognition. Some people have gone through trauma in their growing up years, and it's just, they just don't see people as being wanting to give a word of advice, a word of counsel, so they won't even allow you to learn before they respond. And another thing that people always do, people also have low self-esteem, so they live in self-denial that this is a problem. I mean, once in a while, I say to people, like we are here now, I can, if I'm working with you, once in a while, I will ask you, what do you think of me? Feedback is the breakfast of but a lot of people, a lot of us, I mean, including myself, we don't enjoy feedback sometimes. I mean, it comes from the way that, so these are things that we need to do. Like we've started with, it's just communication. Life is sweet, really. It's what we all make of it that determine. Life is sweet. And then maybe I will say also that when you look at the way God created us, we are created to live in community, in family. I love what you did for your families. You are also asking that you have a bond of relationship. So that's the way life is. Nobody will live in isolation. So when people suffer trauma, they tend to isolate themselves. Anyone who wants to get closer, they just put up that wall of defense. And then they see every word as someone attacking their personality, someone responding to them. So if you have two people like that who are married, that's a whole lot. So they just want to defend themselves in every situation. And for those of us who are married, it's not competition. We're supposed to complement each other. So we must learn to listen to observe, not listen to defend, as it were.
Okay. Listen to observe and not listen to defend. You're all in short, I want to say you have written into my next question, because I wanted to ask, is defensiveness is it a form of self-protection, or trying to create a barrier so that you will not even get to ask me certain things, or even maybe you've noticed something and I just want to block that angle whereby you want to like ask me regarding that situation? Is it a way you try to do a self-protection or put a barrier, just like you said? And also, I want to find out, can it be an unresolved trauma as well? You know, just like what you said, two people who have issues, you understand, growing up, now getting married, they are not healed. They've not been able to go through that process and speak out to someone. I don't mean shout out to the whole world, but at least go through someone who can take them to therapy to heal. What are the dangers that is involved, and how can one really measure this and come out to be open-minded?
So let's also introduce something into this discussion. So some people are used to being talked at, so they recline into themselves. They carry that as trauma. I've met one or few people like that. When you talk to them, they try to help you process what you are thinking. They also process their own answer. So sometimes they are all wrong altogether. So some people are dealing with trauma. Some other people, they are used to certain kind of thing, maybe like violence. So for them, defensiveness is a form of drawing the boundary around their life. It's a form of saying, no, I won't take this from you. Not necessarily because they want to fight that person, but they want to respond to the abuser. Whichever way that it goes, you said it right, man, that, hey, everyone, if I have an issue with myself, because everything begins on the inside. I want to speak out. So everyone must learn to speak out. Everyone must learn to seek help where necessary. We live in a culture of silence. Everybody just wants to keep and resolve their own issues on their own. But most of the times, such issues are never resolved, because you can't, if we can resolve it by ourselves, there won't be a problem in the first place. So if there is any need where things are out of place, learn to speak out, learn to ask questions. If they need to see someone like a therapist, please do. You can't put defensiveness. I mean, many people have lost jobs. They've lost opportunities. I remember a very handy story. There was a day I was part of the interview panel, so we were trying to we already saw that person's CV ahead of time, at interview. So we were planning to interview, but for one reason or the other, we took longer time. So by the time we were calling him to come in as the next person, we found out that he has gone. So we looked at the CV. He was actually qualified for the job. We placed a call to him. He said that he can't stay. How can he stay? And he has done this, he has done this, he has done this. He doesn't know why we're wasting his time for an interview. That's how he lost that job opportunity. So we can't carry all these things all around. It's not healthy for us. It's not healthy for our marriages. It's not healthy for any relationship.
And it's waiting.
It's waiting. It's waiting.
Now, in the midst of all this, what strategies can couple use or come up with to overcome defensiveness? And how can I feel like anytime we emphasize on communication, a lot of people don't understand how to start that communication. How can we encourage people to have open communication? Because if I have issues with you, the moment for me, it took me a while to understand that speaking out is a way of letting go issues. I just believe that, okay, the issue is gone. In my mind, it's gone. My head have already processed that we don't have a problem. Except the other person now comes and I'm like, oh, so that problem was still there, because I didn't grow up where we were given opportunity to say, oh, you offended me, come and say sorry and this. So I taught my kids, if you offend me, they'll tell, okay, I'm sorry. Does that make so? How can couples come up with strategies? That's why you see that most times I'm always defensive. I'm one person that is always, because I feel like I've drawn that boundary. You're coming, I'm giving you back to back. Like, hey, it's not what you're thinking. Keep it there, hold it. And then I now start explanation. And sometimes the explanation comes after the damage has been done. Yeah. After the other person has been hurt. After you've taken made the wrong turn, the wrong mistake. Then you now realize that, oh, I should have actually listened and you've been different. And that's okay. Since you're thinking that way, let me be there. So how can couples come up with strategies? Number one, to overcome too much of defensiveness, because sometimes it's good to be defensive to let's balance it, and then encourage open communication. And when I mean communication, let's talk. Things you don't want to talk about it, let's all stop. Those things you're scared of, put it out here. It's either it ends well or everybody's their.
So, number one thing that I will suggest is self-awareness. Every one of us should be aware of ourselves. How do I mean? There is a way a communication pattern can go, and you know that the next statement you're going to make will add salt to the injury. So, self-awareness means we step back. We refrain from saying. I mean, because sometimes
at what point do we step back?
I mean, when the temperature are getting
God bless you, sir.
And the voices and the
that's why at what time
and the top inches we all know this. I mean, for those of us in any relationship,
so that's when some people will come in and hit up the argument.
Self-awareness, it's a kind of discipline, self-maturity. This is the time to hold back,
to restrain.
You restrain. So you said something. Even in communication, we're here in this studio. I mean, nobody wants to be talked to openly. So in communication, there is what to say, there is when to say, there is how to say, there is where to say, there is with whom to say it. So self-awareness means you must be able to test the waters. You know the person that you are married to, and you know how. I mean, for me, I don't want to say this like that, but for me, one thing I've noticed, except that there are rare men who can match up with words when it comes to their conversation with women. Some women are so good at it. You make one statement, they can give you 5.
And if you're a man that you are not conscious, you like to talk and defend yourself.
Because a man wants to defend himself in that instance.
You will rub yourself. You will rub yourself.
You know, those words are actually very hot.
They are waiting words. Nobody likes it. So self-awareness is the number one thing. Okay, this is me. This is what I can take. I don't like people cursing me or insulting me. So I'm self-aware to the point that I must also not say things that will generate that kind of response. So that's the number one thing. Number two thing, active listening. Active listening. So because a lot of people in their relationship, they have unresolved issues. So you hear things like, oh, he has started again. She has started again. It's because the last issue was not resolved. If it was resolved, we would have learned to separate at each instance, separate issues from people. Sometimes couples argue and they're talking about wanting to change channel to watch a TV, and then they join in. That's the way you behaved yesterday when you were supposed to give me water. That's the way you behaved last week when we went to this party. So you just join issues. So active listening means there is an issue. I'm listening to understand this person's perspective, and I'm listening with empathy. Because sometimes it might be among couples, some people just don't know how to express themselves, even though they are right, but they don't even know how to use words. So active listening demands that let me listen out. Let me understand this person's perspective before I do my response. So I think self-awareness and then active listening will help us to be able to overcome defensiveness. Nobody hates us in that real sense. And then I said this a lot to people. In fact, in my own relationship, I said to my wife, let's take it easy. I mean, an issue has happened, and the way we make progress is to move forward. So let's take it. So sometimes refraining means the temperature are high, we can't talk about it now. So discipline, self-awareness also means that we are saying, okay, let's continue, we will come back to it. But for most people, let's continue, it doesn't work, we must resolve it. So there will be defensiveness. And then for some other people, if they are not resolving it now, they tend to stay apart. No, we can actually have a pending issue. We all go a separate way in the morning. It doesn't mean and come back when the temperature. I have thought about it. She has thought about it. So we are able to be in a better space.
Sure, by the time the breeze blow you left, right, center, the sun hits you. The AC in your office do its zone. And you walk, I'm already able to cool down. Cool down, regular cool temper. Defensiveness, like our word of Marvel said, sometimes it's because many are afraid. And they're afraid because they don't want something they have or they hold on to be taken away from them. So what is it that you think someone wants to take away from you? You are perfect. Like I will always tell you, you're a beautiful work, a masterpiece. So believe in yourself. And when you believe in yourself, don't be too carried away. Say, I believe in myself. I know what I'm... No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about being self-aware of who you are, consciousness of yourself, your mental state of mind at that time. And when people are arguing, I know they like arguments anyway. It's good. I always tell men who like to talk with women. The woman talk. You always got poti. Yeah, they look that song. Now sit down, carry a poti, be talking back with the woman. Carry, I give you kubosa. Every thank you, sir, for being part of.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
I always enjoy to be here with these two wonderful women doing great job.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, I got a message. Happy birthday to Elder Stella Ngozi Diachi. Happy birthday to you. Many more fulfilling new age. We love you. Family and value, wish you happy birthday. Good news, wish you happy birthday. We love you.